After the Canadian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton didn't simply debrief, he detonated. Behind a polite tone, his words carried a warning that echoed through Maranello like a siren in the night. There's a lot of changes that need to be made in the system. I wish I could tell you what's happening. There's so much going on in the background, I can't say too much. He wasn't talking about setup tweaks or tire strategy, he was speaking of a deeper rot, a culture, a structure, an ideology, and the most haunting part, he wasn't allowed to explain. That silence was deliberate, coded, dangerous. This wasn't frustration, it was encryption. Hamilton, the 7-time champion, doesn't complain without cause, and this time he was dropping breadcrumbs for those who know where to look. No media outlet dared translate it properly. Most dismissed it as adjusting to a new team. But insiders know, when a driver like Hamilton chooses his words so carefully, he's signaling mutiny. And in this case, Ferrari's fortress may already be under siege from the inside. The former Ferrari engineer who read between the lines and confirmed the threat. It didn't take long for someone from inside the old guard to react. Luigi Mola, a former Ferrari race engineer and longtime strategist, heard Hamilton's post-race statement and did something rare in Italian motorsport culture. He broke ranks. Speaking to Sky Italy, Mazzola warned, Hamilton's words must be read carefully. He's found himself in a team that still needs to be rebuilt, and we're already 10 races in. Let that sink in. A team that claims to be fighting for wins, still in pieces halfway through the season. Mazzola didn't mince words. If the mentality he's asking for doesn't already exist in the organization, that's not just concerning, it's very concerning. From someone who helped build Ferrari's Schumacher-era dominance, this isn't gossip. This is a veteran telling the world Hamilton's warning is real, and beneath the polished press releases, something is deeply broken. So the question isn't whether Hamilton's comments were justified. The question is, why are people at Ferrari still afraid to admit he's right? The missing upgrades, the technical chaos, and the numbers that tell a story of institutional failure. Let's forget words for a moment. Look at the numbers. We're 10 races into the season, and Ferrari's promised development package is still half deployed. Updates meant for Imola were delayed. The new suspension concept whispered about in April, only arriving now, in Austria. Meanwhile, Hamilton's SF25 feels like it was built by committee. The ride height is conservative, compromising aero efficiency. Brake modulation is inconsistent, especially under heavy load. The car resists setup changes, forcing drivers into unnatural styles. This isn't about adapting, it's about fighting your own machine, every lap. At Montreal, Hamilton's floor was damaged by debris, but that didn't explain the full pace deficit. What did? A car outside its aero window, a balance built on wishful simulations, and an engineering department too slow to pivot. And while Leclerc quietly grinds, Hamilton's frustration builds. The problem isn't a lack of parts, it's a lack of urgency, a system allergic to change. And when a champion smells inertia, he either fights or exposes it. Inside the culture clash, and the silent war between Hamilton and the Scuderia's hierarchy. What Hamilton is facing inside Ferrari isn't just a car issue, it's a cultural collision. He comes from Mercedes, data-driven, reactive, bold. Ferrari, on the other hand, still bows to tradition, prestige, and a fear of disruption. Inside Maranello, hierarchy is sacred, questions are dangerous, and innovation often gets filtered through layers of politics before it ever reaches the track. Hamilton put it bluntly. I ask, what if we tried this? And they tell me, we've always done it this way. That single phrase reveals everything. The real enemy isn't Red Bull, it's the ghost of Ferrari's past. The one that clings to old formulas and rejects outside interference. And Fred Vasseur, caught in the middle. His job is to modernize Ferrari, but he's slowly being boxed in by the very engineers meant to support him. Mazzola called it, the mentality is broken. There's no room for risk, no patience for experimentation, which means even a legend like Hamilton becomes just another outsider, locked in a system, afraid to evolve. Hamilton's silent rebellion. And the turning point he's already chosen. Lewis Hamilton isn't yelling, he isn't storming out of meetings, his rebellion is subtler, but far more dangerous. Inside debriefs, he pushes, he questions, he suggests ideas that challenge Ferrari's orthodoxy, and when those ideas are shut down, he doesn't back off, he stores it. You can see it in his driving, tight apexes where others lift, mid-corner adjustments that defy the team's data. This is not a driver conforming. This is a driver sending messages with his feet. In Canada, he ignored radio cues. In Spain, he tested different lines mid-race, knowing full well the engineers would frown. He's turning every session into a statement. I will not be molded by this machine. It's not insubordination, it's adaptation by resistance. And the engineers? Some are starting to whisper, some are siding with him quietly, because deep down even they know Hamilton's instincts often beat the simulator. But Ferrari has never liked pilots who think too much, and now they have one who not only thinks, he plans. Austria, the last stand for control, or the first crack in the Ferrari power structure. The Austrian Grand Prix isn't just another race, it's a pressure cooker. And inside it, a quiet ultimatum is taking shape. Ferrari is set to debut long-delayed suspension upgrades, hoping to fix a car that simply refuses to behave. But here's the truth they won't admit. These upgrades are not innovation, they're triage. It's not a step forward, it's a desperate bid to stop the bleeding, and Hamilton knows it. His demeanor, measured, but under the surface, the calculation is brutal. If this doesn't work, they've run out of excuses. Austria marks the halfway points of 2025. If the SF25 remains unpredictable, if Ferrari systems continue to reject his input, Hamilton won't explode publicly. He'll disengage internally, and that's how drivers disappear in plain sight. This is where Ferrari either listens or fractures. The engineers know it, Vassar feels it, and somewhere in that garage, a choice is being made between defending tradition or embracing survival. Legacy versus loyalty. The emotional battlefield Hamilton now walks alone. Lewis Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari for comfort. He came for history, for the 8th title, for the myth. But now he finds himself in a place where legacy collides with loyalty, and the cost of silence is rising. Inside Maranello, he sees it. The ghost of old glory choking modern potential. Systems built to protect the brand, not empower the driver. Engineers afraid to be wrong, leaders afraid to be bold, so he speaks in code, drives with rebellion, hints at storms behind the curtains. There's so much I wish I could tell you. That isn't complaint, that's a man screaming behind diplomacy, a champion watching time slip, trapped in a structure that fears his truth. And if Ferrari doesn't change, radically now, they won't just lose a title, they'll lose the very soul of what they claim to be. So ask yourself, how long until Hamilton stops asking and starts walking? Who inside Ferrari dares to side with him? And is this silence, the sound before revolution? If you believe the truth must be told, the raw, uncomfortable truth behind red walls, then like this, share it, subscribe. Because the transformation won't be televised, but here it will be decoded. Before you click away, answer this in the comments. If you were sitting in Hamilton's seat tonight, would you risk everything to shatter Ferrari's walls, or would you protect the legend and stay silent? Smash that like if you crave the unfiltered truth, subscribe so you never miss a decoded signal, and share this video with one friend who still believes Maranello is untouchable. Because the louder our voice, the faster change arrives, and the next revolution might start with your comment below.